The morning light stretched slowly across the horizon, turning the red earth gold and copper. The desert was waking. Coyotes had gone silent, and the wind carried the distant cry of an eagle. Through that calm silence rode an old cowboy named Jack Hollister, his weathered hat pulled low to shade his tired blue eyes. His horse, a gray stallion named Dusty, moved with steady patience, each step crunching softly against the sand. Jack had been riding for days, following nothing but instinct. He wasn't chasing gold nor running from a man, he was chasing peace, the kind a restless heart only finds when the world goes quiet. He finally stopped by a narrow river that wound like a silver snake through the valley. He dismounted, crouched beside the water, and washed the grit from his face. The cool touch of the current reminded him he was still alive. Then he saw her. Across the river stood a woman, tall, proud, and barefoot, her black hair falling over her shoulders like flowing night. Her skin caught the sunlight, warm and copper-toned, and her dark eyes glimmered with both caution and calm. She moved gracefully as she gathered wild herbs into a woven basket, every motion deliberate, every breath attuned to the desert's rhythm. Jack straightened slowly, not wanting to startle her. "Didn't mean to intrude, ma'am," he said, tipping his hat in respect. His voice carried the gravel of years and miles. The woman looked up, her gaze sharp and unreadable. "You are far from your kind's trail," she replied in accented English, her tone steady, her eyes never leaving him. "What brings you here, cowboy?" Jack gave a small smile. "Guess I just go where the wind don't bite too hard." No map left to follow. A faint smile touched her lips, the first sign of softness. "Then the wind must favor you today," she said. Jack nodded, glancing around the vast, sunlit valley. "Can't argue that." For a moment, neither spoke. The river flowed between them, two strangers from different worlds, bound by the same quiet strength. She was Naya, daughter of an Apache chief and healer of her people. He was a man of the dying frontier, a soul carved by storms and silence. And though they didn't yet know it, their fates had just crossed paths in the heart of the desert. 2 days had passed since Jack Hollister appeared by the river, and already the Apache camp buzzed with curiosity about the old cowboy who worked like a man half his age. He had asked for no shelter, no food, only a place to lend a hand. When the men repaired fences or broke stubborn horses, Jack was there, quiet, steady, and sharp as a knife's edge. His years hadn't slowed him down. If anything, they'd refined him like tempered steel. The younger warriors watched him closely. They laughed at first, whispering about the gray-haired stranger who still called himself a rider. But their laughter didn't last long. When a loose corral post sent a wild Mustang tearing through the camp, chaos erupted. The great brown horse kicked and reared, snapping ropes, scattering dust into the air. Children screamed, women pulled them to safety, and the men rushed to block its path. Before anyone could react, Jack dropped his hat, grabbed a coil of rope, and stepped straight into the storm. His boots dug deep into the sand, his eyes fixed on the Mustang's every twitch. "Easy there, boy," he muttered under his breath, swinging the rope with practiced grace. The Mustang lunged toward him, fury in its eyes. Jack sidestepped, letting the dust cloud his outline, and then, whip. The rope flew. It caught clean around the neck, pulling tight with a snap. The horse reared again, but Jack held his ground, muscles straining beneath his worn shirt. Slowly, inch by inch, he drew closer, speaking softly, soothingly, until the beast stopped trembling. The crowd fell silent. Even the wind seemed to pause. When the horse finally bowed its head, Jack patted its neck gently. "There now," he said, voice calm. "Ain't nothing wild that can't be tamed with patience." Naya stepped forward from the watching crowd, her eyes wide with astonishment. She had seen many strong men, but none with such quiet command. The way he moved, unhurried, confident, spoke of a lifetime spent wrestling both beasts and burdens. A smile curved her lips as she murmured, half to herself, "Such a capable old cowboy. Deserves to pass on his genes." Her words caught the attention of the villagers, and laughter rippled softly through the group. Jack, still brushing dust off his clothes, looked up with a teasing grin. "Ma'am, I reckon that's the finest compliment I've had in years." But behind her playful tone, Naya felt something stir, respect, admiration, and an unexpected pull toward the stranger who carried time like a badge of honor. That night the desert turned to silver. The air was cool, the wind whispering through the sagebrush, like a secret only the earth could understand. Jack Hollister sat beside the campfire near the edge of the Apache camp, his hat tilted back, his weathered face glowing orange in the flicker of the flames. He had eaten with the tribe that evening. Venison roasted on open fire. Stories shared through laughter and gestures more than words. The people, once cautious, now treated him like one of their own. Across from him sat Naya, her long dark hair reflecting the firelight, her eyes thoughtful as they watched the sparks rise and vanish into the night. Between them lay a comfortable silence, the kind born not from distance, but understanding. The stars stretched endlessly above, forming patterns that seemed to speak of both past and future. My people say the stars are the eyes of those who came before, Naya said softly. They watch us, guide us, remind us who we are. Jack nodded, poking at the fire with a stick. I used to think that too. When I was younger, out on the range, riding through lonely nights, I'd look up there and talk to my old man. He never said much back, but it kept me company. She smiled gently. You speak like a man who has known both solitude and loyalty. Jack chuckled low.
Guess I've had my share of both.
Lost more friends than I can count. Outlived my horse once, too. That was the hardest. Naya's expression softened. You carry sorrow well. Don't have much choice, he said. The trail teaches you to keep moving forward. Pain's just another kind of weather. You ride through it till the sun comes out again. Her gaze lingered on him, admiration mixing with something deeper. You've lived with strength, not just in your hands but in your heart. That is rare. Jack looked up at her, the firelight catching the lines on his face. Maybe strength's just what's left when everything else wears off. The wind swept across the fire, making the flames dance between them. Naya reached out, placing her hand gently over his. Then what remains is worth more than anything lost. For a long time, they sat beneath the star blanket, two souls from different worlds, finding warmth in the quiet rhythm of the desert night. Dawn broke slowly over the valley, painting the red cliffs in strokes of gold and rose. The morning air was still, filled with the scent of sage and dust after the night's cool wind. Jack Hollister saddled his gray horse. Dusty, his every movement steady, practiced and quiet. The Apache camp had begun to stir, children's laughter, the crackle of fresh fires, the soft murmur of women preparing the morning meal. He had stayed longer than he planned. What was meant to be one night had turned into several days of peace, laughter, and strange comfort. Yet Jack knew he couldn't stay. The trail always called to him, whispering in that restless corner of his heart that could never stay still for long. Naya approached, her dark braid swinging over her shoulder, her eyes calm but shadowed by sadness. In her hand, she held something small, a charm carved from bone in the shape of an eagle, its wings outstretched. Take this, she said, holding it out to him. It will watch over you as my ancestors do. Jack accepted it gently, running his thumb over the smooth carving. You've got a kind heart, Naya. The kind that could make even an old cowboy forget the road for a while. Her lips curved in a soft, bittersweet smile. The road is part of who you are. I would not take that from you. He looked at her for a long moment, the desert wind brushing past them like a farewell. Maybe, he said quietly. But I reckon there are places and people a man don't forget. No matter how far he rides. Naya stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. Age does not steal a man's worth, Jack Hollister. It only makes his spirit deeper. If the Great Spirit wills it, your story will not end on the trail. It will live on in those who remember your name. Jack smiled, slipping the charm around his neck. You talk mighty fine, Miss Naya. Makes an old man believe he's still got something left to give. As he mounted Dusty, she raised her hand in silent blessing. The morning sun caught the edge of his hat as he rode away, the eagle charm glinting like firelight in motion, and long after he disappeared into the desert, Naya stood watching, whispering to the wind. Such a capable old cowboy deserves to pass on his genes. The legend of Jack Hollister, the man who tamed wild horses and wild hearts, would live forever beneath the desert sky.